And welcome back to the Delaware Boys Dynasty Football Podcast. Everybody is here tonight. It's a miracle that strikes over. Top left, top right corner, you boy Ryan, me, bottom left, bottom right, AJ and Frankie. Frankie, welcome back, man.
What up? What up? Glad to be back.
Last time we talked, man, missed a couple of events. I know you are a father, so I want to say happy Father's Day and a happy birthday to you as well. We did miss that last time we recorded, so just want everybody to know, you know, happy Father's Day, happy birthday to you, buddy.
You even got your balloon.
Yeah, man, balloons in the back. It's a little crooked though, you know what I'm saying?
I'd have to tilt it.
Yeah, tilt it.
Everything's a little crooked here. AJ, fix the sign back.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the sign. Is that better?
Yeah, it's better. This is yours, buddy. You wanted the AFC East. We knocked out the West on both sides and the North, so we're gonna get started, man. AFC East is yours. I know you're a big Jalen Waddle fan, man. So we're gonna dive right into the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, man, Mr. Oswald Cobblepot himself, the Penguin, Jalen Waddle. That's my 2022 buy of the year. All in on Jalen Waddle. I got him in 2 leagues. Had 108 catches last year as a rookie. For I'd say about the first 12 weeks of the season, you could have made a case that he was having as good or better of a season as Jamar Chase. But then Jamar Chase obviously ended the season on a tear and completely separated himself. But Jalen Waddle was right there with Jamar Chase for rookie of the year there for a little bit. He had 12 targets and 11 catches in week 3. He only managed to get 58 yards out of that. So I'm not going to talk it up too much, but for a rookie getting 12 targets on a team that had Devontae Parker as an established guy that was actually trying to win football games with Tua, that's pretty solid. And like I said, he had 108 catches last year, or 104 catches, last year for 1,015 yards, and he had 1,015 yards and had 6 touchdowns. So I think he can definitely build on that touchdown. I can definitely see him getting over 1,100 yards and 100 catches. Seems like it's going to be easy for him as well. Even with the addition of Tyreek Hill, I don't think that's going to eat into Waddle's production too much. I think that's going to be a very pass-heavy offense because I do not like their running backs. But I'll let somebody else go in on Tyreek Hill since I love Waddle so much. But yeah, Jalen Waddle, I think, is going to have a huge year.
Well, that's my question to you guys. Tyreek Hill is a huge offseason acquisition, obviously. So you're always excited to bring in a player like that if you are a Dolphins fan. Me being a Jalen Waddle owner, only in 1 league, but I still own Jalen Waddle, got pieces of him. There's a lot of naysayers. Tyreek Hill cuts into Jalen Waddle's production. They've already signed, sealed, delivered it. Ryan being one of these guys. Why is that? Why do you feel that way? You know what I mean? I just gotta know.
I don't think that it comes from either the wide receiver talent. I think it comes from the quarterback not being able to support 2 great receivers in fantasy. Is the big thing for me. I mean, you look at Tua, so far he hasn't really been a fantastic quarterback in my mind. They got some pieces in there to make him a little bit better, but I hate Tua. I'm a non-Tua believer. Last 2 seasons, he's finished like below the top 25 as a quarterback. He has missed time. That's a given. That's fair. He has pretty high accuracy points, but it's also because Frankie touched on it. Jalen Waddle's getting 12 catches for 58 yards. So these are like efficient, quick throws that are easy to complete. So do what you want with accuracy stats. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to avoid Waddle and Hill, but I'm definitely taking them with caution, not knowing the outcome of what Tua can actually give them.
My question is for Frankie.
Go ahead, AJ. My bad.
No, it's for you anyway. Like, do you think Waddle is still going to be like a low-end wide receiver 1 with Tyreek there?
Yeah, like I said, I'm not big on any of the running backs there. I don't think that the Dolphins have an offensive line to support a strong running game. I think they're still kind of building that defense. I do kind of like the moves they've made on defense, but I don't see them winning like the entire time during the whole season. So I can see them coming from behind in a lot of games and having to throw the ball. And like I said, Waddle had over 100 catches last year, and Tua was his quarterback, and he didn't have a guy like Tyreek Hill on the other side of the field to separate and, you know, take some of that attention away from him. So I don't see why there can't be 2 wide receiver 1s in this offense if there's not going to be two wide receiver ones, I could see Tyreek Hill actually falling off into the wide receiver 2 range. He's more of a burner, and I don't think Tua has the arm strength to get the ball downfield in the spots that Tyreek Hill likes the ball. And Waddle has shown the propensity to be able to take some of those short plays and use his speed to make plays after the catch. So Hill has as well. I'm not going to sit here and poo-poo on Tyreek Hill, but just the quarterback situation for Tyreek Hill is drastically different. I think Waddle's shown that he can live with Tua. And we just haven't seen Tyreek Hill have to play with a quarterback with arm strength as low as Tua's.
Yeah, absolutely. I listened to a bunch of podcasts. One opened my eyes a few weeks ago because I was kind of the opposite of what I'm about to say. Because I thought the same thing, that Tyreek would draw attention away from Waddle. But Tyreek is the type of wide receiver that's not going to draw the attention away from Waddle because he's more of a burner. He's going to take the safety. The safety's really not going to be on Waddle. Waddle's not a safety guy. He's more of a short route guy, so he gets the quick linebackers on most defenses, along with their corner or their slot corner. So he's kind of getting those closer to the line of scrimmage defenders rather than what Tyreek Hill is going to draw, which is usually going to be the number one corner plus a safety. Got to have a safety over the top against Tyreek. That's obvious.
And that's regardless why I like Waddle, because I think a lot of people are forgetting that Waddle coming out of college was the burner. Like, he was coming out with Devontae Smith, who was the route runner, and right. Jalen Waddle was known as the guy who, he only runs one route, and it's get downfield and get open and burn everybody. So, I mean, if Tyreek's taking safety help away from the top, then I'd love Jalen Waddle even more, because if you're going to dedicate a safety and a corner to Tyreek Hill, Waddle's got the whole middle of the field to play with, and he's going to be wide open or be able to make a man miss, and it's off to the races. So I love Jalen Waddle. I think, like I said, if one of those two guys is going to be a wide receiver 2 this year, it's going to be Hill. And again, I think Tua, I'm not a Tua hater. I think he's at least the 3rd best quarterback in this division. I think that's pretty fair to say. I'm not a Mac Jones guy, so I like Tua. I think he's going to have a comeback year. One of the most accurate quarterbacks in college football history. He's shown that he still has some accuracy in the NFL. Like Deli said, they're not necessarily like deep bombs, but I think with the weapons that they've put around him on the receiving core, I don't hate Gesicki from a football standpoint, not a fantasy standpoint. Stay away from Gesicki. But I do like the weapons that they put around Tua to have him succeed in Miami.
Yeah, O-line additions as well. You forget to mention, Deli, that Tua was one of the most heavily pressured QBs in the NFL of his first 2 years. O-line play was putrid. They addressed that as well, bringing in All-Pro. So is Joe Burrow. You're right, but they're different QBs. Burrow and Tua, from a standpoint as playing the quarterback position, are different players. But you bring in an All-Pro in Teron Armstead. You bring in Connor Williams. They want to make him succeed. They want Tua to be that guy they drafted. They have to live with taking Herbert or taking Tua over Herbert every day. That's on them. But if this is their project, they're going to see it through. A lot of people don't bring in the fact that Cedric Wilson is a mismatch out of the slot as well. I like Cedric Wilson a lot. I like what he brings. This offense is a mismatch in the passing game all over the field. This is one of the fastest offenses in the league, if not the fastest. They are a mismatch just waiting to happen. As a Jalen Waddle owner, I don't think Tyreek cuts into that at all. I think you've seen QBs that play in college with these receivers, this chemistry based, playing at Bama, the chemistry's there. I think Jalen Waddle is going to demand a high target share, and I think he's going to succeed and thrive. If anything, I could see Tyreek being the guy that falls to the back end of the wide receiver 1s or top end wide receiver 2s.
I'm just saying one of them's going to fall. Whether it be Waddle or Hill, it's going to be one of them.
They have to. But do they though? Like you said, this team is probably going to be built to pass the rock a lot.
Yep.
I know they're different. I know they're different scenarios. But Kelsey and Tyreek can thrive together, guys like that, high target demands, things like that. Obviously, I'm not saying this is Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelsey, Tyreek Hill. I'm not saying that. But, teams can do it. You can support two wide receivers we just aren't sure that Tua's that guy to do
Yeah,
so.
but here's the thing: it's like I don't see Tua throwing for any more than 3,500 yards with running backs, receivers, tight ends, all around. Like I don't think he goes over that number.
3,500.
I
3,500.
think that's going to be a run first team now. The head coach came from San Fran. They brought in Mostert, who's comfortable with the head coach. They brought in
He's going to
Chase
play
Edmonds.
2 games and tears ACL.
They still brought in multiple running backs to run the ball.
Name 2 of them that have ever been successful in the NFL.
Has Tua been successful?
Listen, I said I think Tua's going to have.
I think Raheem Mostert's been more successful than Tua.
Raheem Mostert doesn't play. I like Raheem Mostert. He's one of the fastest players in the NFL, but the dude literally plays like 8 games a year at most. Like that's not going to happen. Like miss me with the Raheem Mostert. I like him as a player. He's more of a good real football player in fantasy. And I think he's more of like a, hey, we made the playoffs and we're getting Raheem Mostert back type guy. Like that's what Raheem Mostert's been his whole career.
I'm just saying they brought in 2 running backs to run the ball for a reason.
Is Edmonds is Edmonds going to be a good running back though, or is he's that pass catching?
They beefed up the line. I mean,
I get what you're
as
saying.
a head coach, do you like?
I don't think that they invested as much as they did in Cedric Wilson and Tyreek Hill, and then signed some scrap heap running backs to say that we're going to be a run first offense. That's a crazy thing. That would be wild.
I get that, but I get that they invested in Tyreek, but I mean, he's coming from a
And
Shanahan offense.
They gave Cedric a contract.
No, I get that too. But like they also brought him from Shanahan, the best running coach in the NFL.
Listen, I don't disagree with you. I literally can't see that happening with the investments that they've made in that pass catching. They re-signed Gesicki. They gave Cedric Wilson a new deal. They traded for Tyreek Hill and gave him a new contract. They drafted Waddle in the top 10 in the draft last year. They drafted
you think Tua
in the
goes
top
over
10.
3,500 yards?
I say yes.
I say yeah. I can
I
see him
say
throwing
no.
for 4,000 easy
Easy? No.
Ooh.
30. I'm going under 35.
in 17 games or in
Yeah,
18
I'm gonna go.
games.
Now, granted, we are talking obviously barring injury, things like that.
Obviously.
So
Yeah.
hold up, just for context, last year he played 13 games and had 2,600 yards, 16 touchdowns, 10 interceptions.
Yeah, I'll take
So
the over.
I can see, I can see a healthy Tua getting over 3,500 yards. I would take that over for sure.
I don't know about 4,000.
500.
Meet me in the middle at 37, 38. Yeah, I think 35 is definitely doable.
I think they're going to throw the ball a lot. That's just me. And I also don't think that I think Edmonds in his career has shown that he's a pass catching back. I think that Raheem Mostert shown that he's a pass catching back. Like all these guys are guys that are good at handling the ball out of the backfield after catching it. Excuse me.
Sony Michel. I forgot I got Sony Michel too.
Just another guy. That's what I mean. Like they're just throwing shit at the wall and hoping some of it sticks. I don't think that's a productive running game.
Fair enough. Any guys you avoiding? This is a hot topic, obviously. So any guys you avoiding on this offense?
Gesicki and the running backs.
Gesicki is
honestly, yeah. If you can avoid Tua in fantasy football, I wouldn't think that's a bad idea. I'm not saying I love Tua as a fantasy buy this year. I could just see him being productive enough to hold 2 wide receiver ones or a wide receiver 1 and a wide receiver 2.
Yeah, my avoid is Gesicki as well. You go from number 2 target to possibly number 4, possibly 5, depending on how these pass catching backs play. Yeah, I think Gesicki still holds some value in Dynasty. So if you can flip it for Freiermuth or somebody like that, go for it.
You think Cedric out targets Gesicki?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like Cedric Wilson a lot. He stepped up huge.
That might be closer than you guys think.
I think
I could definitely see it being close. I've never been a Gesicki guy, and then they made all the moves that they made to bring in these wide receivers. It's like
Cedric Wilson just
do
looks
what
like
show
that.
me, don't tell me.
He's just that typical wide receiver that had 1 quarter of a good year, and he gets a payday, and he gets a payday.
Yeah,
and then we won't ever hear about Cedric Wilson again.
Fair
I
enough.
can see him having some viable flex weeks, but again, I think he's a good avoid as well. I wouldn't like reach for him or anything.
He's not even on the radar though.
He's kind of like cute. Remember when Keelan Cole had a good year for the Jaguars and went to the Jets? Now he's irrelevant. It's kind of
I
like
think he's a
Cedric
good
Wilson.
he's a good best ball guy. Like if you are
there you
late
go.
in the best ball draft and Cedric Wilson's just sitting there and you're like, well, if he had some good weeks for Dallas last year, let me just see if he can play for an injured Tyreek Hill or an injured Jalen Waddle. Like, sure.
But his price point as opposed to Gesicki's price point, I'm avoiding
Right.
Gesicki at that price point as opposed to
Right.
I'd rather take a dart throw on Cedric Wilson at that price point. You know what I mean?
I can see Gesicki being a streaming option by the end of the season. Like people just cutting him and picking him up for a tight end for a week or something.
I'm avoiding Tua, by the way, but for obvious reasons.
Fair. Avoid him.
Ready for the points total?
I got the points total. And I'm going to smash the over, man. Miami comes as the 22 ranked offense in the league at 20.1 points per game. I'm going to go over.
I can see 3 touchdowns for that team. I can see. I'd take the over.
22.
20.1 or 20
20 and a half.
20.2. Rounded up to 20 and a half.
Yeah.
I'll take the over.
I mean, it's got to be over, right? All these acquisitions, I mean, they can't be any worse than they were.
All right. Ryan.
21 points isn't anything in today's game, I feel like.
Yeah.
I got this one off the dome. How about that? The Dolphins are 8.5 win over under.
I can see them getting over 8 in this or in that division.
Yeah.
I don't like the Jets and I don't like the Patriots. So
Taking the under.
I said they were a playoff team.
Under.
I'm going over.
I'm just saying more like 9. I don't know about a playoff team, but I can see them getting 9 wins.
Mm-hmm.
See a 7 and 10, 8 and 9.
Yeah, give me the under. I think 8-9 is very much a possibility for the Dolphins.
In our stream for our playoff thing, I predicted them to be in the playoffs. So I'm going to ride the over.
I had them out, so I can stand by my answer.
I have them missing the playoffs and going over, so I'm with it.
Oh man, God's sakes! All right, let's do it. Time to jump on in. Bills Mafia, baby. Fun team to talk about. A lot of hype around the player too that I can't wait to talk about. His ADP is through the damn roof. I'm gonna get started
right there.
This is my team.
I'm gonna get it started, man. QB1 last 2 seasons. We weren't even sure 3 or 4 years ago if he was going to be a starting QB after his first contract.
AJ was.
Now Josh Allen.
AJ was.
I was on Josh Allen at Wyoming. Frankie can sit here and vouch for me to every single viewer out here. And I got so much hate. I got ran down the road about Josh Allen. And I stood by that man. And he has made me look like a genius.
Yes, he has.
Usually I'm on the other side. But
he sure has. I'm telling
my Jake Locker take way back in the day.
Took a little longer than expected, but he got there. QB1.
He did get there. It took getting a wide receiver 1 to get there, but hey, sometimes you need a little push.
That playoff run in that Houston game was very rough to watch. You know, the career 57% completion percentage up until this point. I wasn't sure. But number 17 is an absolute dog. He is a dog when it comes to throwing the rock or running the rock. Big body dude, plays tough football. I love him for that city. He's brought a lot of life back into Buffalo. I don't think we have anything to really argue about here. He is your consensus QB1. I
do have one question about Josh Allen, and it's going to sound kind of silly. I'm not going to lie, but would you rather have a guy like Herbert who plays in LA or a guy like Josh Allen who, some years in Buffalo, we're talking dynasty here, in Buffalo, they're going to have open air games. That snow is just going to be brutal. And snow games sometimes are great for fantasy football, but most of the time, snow games aren't the best, and they're building a new stadium without a roof in Buffalo. Like, they're building a new stadium, and they're going to leave it open air. So, like, literally for the rest of Josh Allen's career, he's going to be playing in the snow late in your fantasy football season. Like, he could have to play in a blizzard during your playoffs.
To each their own. Herbert is a dog in his own outright. He's an absolute beast. I'm always going to take the QB with more upside in fantasy football. Josh Allen with the ability to win you games with his arm and then yet alone his legs. I always want that upside on my team no matter what. I'm going to go Josh.
I'm not disagreeing, by the way. Just thought it was interesting.
It is an interesting question. Obviously those cold weather games can bite you in the ass real quick. But give me Josh Allen, and at 26 years old, I'm locking him in comfortably as my QB1 for the next 7 years.
7 years.
That's a long time.
I'm good with rostering him for 6.
If you'd have said 2 to 3 years, I'd have been like, okay.
I'm telling, dude, they don't.
A decade of dominance.
Yeah,
A decade.
I'm good with it, man.
He's already been QB1 for 2 years. He's saying
he's different,
more,
man.
I wish we could put like a little fire emoji for hot takes.
All right, you know what? I'll take it for the rest of Diggs' contract. Give me 4.
No, don't walk your take back, bro. Live it.
I'm not going to walk it back.
7.
I think Josh Allen is a QB1 for the next 7 years.
You said the QB1.
I said a QB1.
He said the, right?
You said the QB1.
I said a QB1.
You're literally, the viewers can rewind, and they're going to be like,
Go back 30 seconds, maybe a minute.
A QB1. Excuse
That's
me.
funny.
Definitely more realistic.
Okay,
I think you should just live with it.
Be for the next 10 seasons. But that's a different story.
The biggest thing is the rushing upside. Like eventually, this dude's going to slow down on the ground, is what we all assume.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, personally though, I don't want him. Doing this for the next 5 years, 6 years, and running his career in the
he's built different.
He does not. He invites contact.
Okay.
He loves contact.
Listen, again, I'm on the Josh Allen train. I just think it's very interesting that he plays in Buffalo and they're not going to put a dome over his head ever for his whole career. Like they had the opportunity to, and they chose not to.
It don't matter where Josh Allen plays. Playing in Wyoming, they had like 6 fans.
And he was
with
bad.
cold weather.
Like don't bring up his Wyoming days like it was some Heisman winning campaign. Like he was bad in Wyoming. He just had some talent, and that's why people liked him. He had huge arm talent, so they were like, "Oh, this guy's 6'5" and can throw the ball 80 yards on his knees. Cool, sign me up."
I'll tell you, boys, get on the Trey Lance train, baby.
Next, anyway.
Yeah, let AJ talk about his 2 boys.
You good,
Diggs
man?
Dude,
Diggs
you want to talk about the Cook brother? Or you want to talk about your ADP riser? Which one, man? Go ahead.
We could talk about
Just talk about the Bills. Go ahead, AJ. Go on.
Go ahead, AJ.
I mean, it's my favorite offense to own, right? And like, there's not a player on here I'm not rostering. Whether it's Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, Dawson Knox, James Cook, like that's the future. That's a Super Bowl offense within the next 2 or 3 years. They're winning a Super Bowl. We're talking about the 4. We already talked on Josh Allen. Really. But I mean, my guy, I'll start with him. I have him in every single league I'm in. James Cook. If you guys don't have him, go get him now before his value takes off. I mean, the guy is just a stud. Regardless of how many rushing yards he had at Georgia, where Georgia doesn't really – they spread the ball out. I mean, Zamir White, James Cook. I mean, he's never averaged under 6 yards per carry in a season, in 4 seasons. Granted, he didn't get all the rushing attempts in his beginning career or even the last year at Georgia. When the guy gets the ball, he's so hard to tackle. I mean, he's learned from his big brother Dalvin his whole life. What other way to learn than from an all-pro running back like your big brother Dalvin Cook?
And then went to running back university when he decided to go to college.
Exactly. I mean, I can't remember the last time a running back came out of Georgia that wasn't semi-successful in the NFL. I mean, they speak for themselves. Them in Alabama are running back you.
It's Georgia.
No, I agree. We don't need to get into that. But I mean, I got him comped to Alvin Kamara. When he gets the ball, he's a freak. Alvin Kamara wasn't getting the love when he came out of college either. He was a second round rookie pick in most drafts. He might have went late first, just like James Cook. Started moving up as drafts went a little further past the NFL draft. You guys are gonna they're going to open your eyes. It's a new weapon to an offense that hasn't had a pass-catching running back. Josh Allen has never utilized his running backs as a pass catcher because, to be fair, Devin Singletary and Zach Moss just aren't cutting it. I think they finally found their weapon, and I think he could be the push to get them to the Super Bowl this year.
Do you think he's going to start the season hot, or do you think it's going to be more of a progression?
It's hard to tell. I think Buffalo is still kind of like Singletary, but I think once he gets his opportunities, he's going to make the most of them, and they're going to realize they got to get this kid the ball.
Fair.
Singletary, you see what you're getting out of Singletary. Zach Moss he's label him the RB3 right now. If he even sticks on the roster, honestly. I mean, he's.
So, Deli, how do you feel about AJ's other guy there, Mr. Gabe Davis, Mr. Playoff Hero?
Playoff hero for one game. I don't know. I'm not huge Gabe Davis. I mean, he shows his flashes here and there, but like, I don't know. You think that they'd be able to support a wide receiver 2 in this offense, but saw it last year. They really didn't.
He's 22 years old.
Yeah,
he's going to take off.
I'm not saying that. It's just like I haven't seen him in that wide receiver 2 role yet, and I'm probably not going to move for him until I see those numbers. And I'd rather pay the higher price to know for sure that he's already that guy than buy him where he's at now and him end up busting my face.
That's fair. I know a lot of people like to get ahead of the curve. I'm typically the opposite, but I'm getting ahead of the curve with this guy and James.
Fair.
He's cheap. You can literally get him as your wide receiver 6 or 7 on teams and not have to pay a price.
Who's cheap? Gabe Davis?
Yeah. Unless you're asking me for him.
His ADP is like 55 right now in a startup I did like a week ago.
He's not cheap.
No,
55 overall.
Yes,
that's
nuts.
Bro.
I'm dead serious.
He's going ahead like Tyler
Just
Boyd.
cut the last 2 minutes out if that's his ADP.
Yeah, dude, he's going. He's
going ahead of guys like Tyler Boyd, man. Like,
he's right after like that.
I'll take him over Tyler Boyd.
Now, granted, this is one QB, so we're not.
Tyler Boyd's buried on that depth chart.
Okay.
Yeah, this is one QB ADP, so we're not going off that. He's around. He's past.
People still do one QB leagues.
I only do it because it gives you like a true like you how you value the QB like and things like that. But anyway,
just messing.
So it's like he's going like Bateman, Hollywood Brown, Keenan Allen dynasty type, rankings right there. Me personally, man, that's high.
I'll take all 3 of them over Gabe Davis.
Right, but that's where his ADP is. Like, and then like you got the Amari Coopers, the Jerry Judys, guys like that. He like sits right in between.
Sutton.
I'll take Gabe Davis over Judy and Sutton. Just saying.
That's wild.
Fire emoji.
Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, how do you say that when fucking
Judy hasn't shown me anything.
Well, that's fair, but Sutton on the other hand has shown something.
What has Gabe Davis shown you ever except for one playoff game? Excuse me?
4 scores.
It's called a gut feeling, man.
Okay, that's fair. But you can't be like Jerry Judy's never shown me anything, and you're talking about fucking Gabe Davis. That's a wild take, man.
I think Gabe Davis had half of as many yards in that one game last year as half of what Jerry Judy's total was last year.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I don't even think Jerry Judy did he crack 450?
I'm not defending Jerry Judy.
I don't know if he had more yards than Allen Robinson.
Gabe Davis.
I know A-Rob had a very low yardage number. I don't know if Jerry Judy had more than Allen Robinson.
I'm not defending Jerry Judy, by the way. I am taking Gabe Davis down a peg, is what I'm trying to say. Like,
no, I agree. His ADP is way too high if he's 55.
I
thought you were saying 55th, like overall wide receiver.
No, I was talking about that value too, so it's not that crazy.
I ain't value him at Keenan Allen, Rashad Bateman, Hollywood. No way,
dude. People, I don't know what it is. It's just like this
Juju.
Playoff game.
He's right there around Juju.
I think I would take. Nah, I can't do it. Can't do it.
Say it.
Yeah, this Gabe Davis talk is. Let's talk about Stephon Diggs, the actual good wide receiver on this offense.
Oh man, you know I'm a Diggs guy.
We don't have to, but I just didn't want to talk about Gabe Davis anymore since there's an actual wide receiver 1 on this offense.
Yeah, I'm gonna start it off, man. A DMV boy, played football at the University of Maryland. So obviously a local kid that a lot of us probably like to see succeed.
Oh yeah.
Came in as an elite route runner from the jump. Dude can create separation at all levels of the field. Footwork is smooth.
No respect at the draft either.
None.
Mm-mm.
5th round pick.
Totally overlooked. Said he
Yes.
was small.
Minnesota Miracle happened.
Yeah. I don't even want to talk about that. I do think the NFL is fixed in some way. That safety has no IQ. He's an absolute retard. Whatever.
Nah, you can't fix a play like that, bro.
You can.
Yeah.
You let
If we talk about fixed plays, let's talk about that James Harrison touchdown run.
Nah. Or that toe drag where he only got one toe down in the end zone.
Mike Vanderjagt tackled by Big Ben.
Anyway, man, he produced in Minnesota, but nothing to the degree of what he's done in Buffalo. The trade was essentially Justin Jefferson for Stephon Diggs. As you look at it, you obviously probably want Jefferson at their points in their careers, but for the NFL standpoint, I think it's been a pretty solid trade on both fronts.
So I think the Bills are happy with what they got.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure Josh Allen loves Stephon Diggs. I'm sure Kirk Cousins loves fucking Justin Jefferson. It is what it is. Diggs, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 7. Dude balls out. It is what it is, man. He's a legit wide receiver 1.
He did get off to a little bit of a slow start last year. So just for anybody who has never owned Stephon Diggs, this is going to be your first year. Just be mindful of that. He might get off to a slow start, but just hang in there. Don't give up on him because he's going to win you some playoff games later in the season if you stick it out. 230
catches in the last 2 years combined, 18 touchdowns, like 2,800 yards.
Stud.
He's a wide receiver 1 for sure.
I think he might even finish back in the top 5 again this year, but maybe that's just me.
Totally agree.
I can see it.
Josh Allen feeds him.
Yep.
Yeah, he looks for him all over the field.
There's some questionable wide receivers that finished top 10 last year that, obviously Deebo Samuel's rushing value, things like that, that's going to come into play. But we all talk, it's all injury related. They can stay on the field. But if you're drafting Stephon Diggs in Dynasty or redraft, however you play it, feel confident that you got an absolute stud. Dude's an absolute beast. Yeah, beast.
Just going to touch on him just for a little bit. Dawson Knox is a great flyer at tight end.
I'm a big fan of Knox, actually.
Dude, he came on last year.
I don't want him as my tight end 1, actually. I take it back.
No, as a flyer, like a lot of people stream the tight end if they don't get an elite. I mean, if Gesicki was rosterable, Dawson Knox should be rosterable.
Agreed.
CJ Uzomah was rosterable. Come on. People like that. If you're streaming the tight end, go get Dawson Knox. That's all I'm going to keep it short.
My question to you is, AJ, I know it's touchdowns. A lot of tight ends like that, guys that aren't highly targeted rely heavily on their touchdown production. He didn't hit
a lot of tight end touchdown production comes close to the goal line where Josh Allen's getting a lot of those.
That is true.
Touchdowns.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying too. You got a QB that is prone to is very well known to take the ball and just go with it. Is 9 touchdowns or more repeatable for Dawson Knox?
I hit the under, but I think his yardage goes up more. I think he gets more to 500 yards. I can see 650. I know that's not like a lot, but okay. I mean, it's an increase, but 9 touchdowns, I think that comes down.
So you think that Buffalo has an offense that's going to produce a wide receiver 1, a wide receiver 2/3, a running back 2, and a tight end 1?
Well, tight end 1.
It's top 12. It's not hard to crack.
I know. I'm saying
he was tight end 8 last year. So, I mean, he was a tight end 1 last year.
That's what I'm saying.
I didn't realize he was tight end 8.
That's why I'm asking the question.
I don't think Gabe Davis is a wide receiver 2. I just said that I'm not taking him over Hollywood and Bateman and Keenan and them. I think he's a viable flex option all year. If you have him as your wide receiver 4, obviously the time to buy Gabe Davis is not right now. I completely had no idea that his ADP was that high. I can own up to that. I was a Gabe Davis just last year. Like, I liked him, and then he took off in the playoff game, so he didn't really take off. He had a big game. Let me clarify that. But I liked Gabe Davis last year. got him as a stash player, had him on taxi squad, and he looked good. But I'm not saying he's going to be a wide receiver 2 or 3. I want to clarify that. If he does, kudos to me. But Diggs is wide receiver 1. Cook is going to be a running back 2 this year. Josh Allen could be the quarterback 1. Shout out Steven. And Knox could be a tight end 1.
29.8 points per game, boys. I'm going to round it up to 30.
Going over.
Over. Still. Give me 30, 31 a game.
That's a high number, bro. I'm going under. I mean,
number 1 offense this year in points per game.
Respectfully, I'm going under.
Super Bowl champs.
I don't think you can.
That.
I mean, I'm not saying you can't, but I don't think you can get better than 30 a game. I mean, I get you can, but that's a lot of points. That's a lot.
They're going to win a Super Bowl this year.
I think they're out for blood, to be honest with you, and I don't think anybody in that division is really going to stand up to them. I don't think. I mean, the conference is loaded for sure, but I still think that they're the best.
They're going to have teams are going to be going to Buffalo in the playoffs. They're going to be the 1 seed. I could see them going whatever the over is. I'm hitting. I could see them going 13-4, 14-3, literally. And you have to go to Buffalo in the cold, where Josh Allen is thriving in the cold, and you're taking, your boy Justin Herbert coming from LA, nice and 75 to 18 with 30 miles per hour winds, where his long hair is frozen because of sweat. And I know he cut it. I realized that after I said that.
He got it working, so that's
just wet.
I was gonna say that's a different type of cold.
Wet.
That's wet cold versus frozen cold.
Now, I didn't get to touch on it, but give me the over on the points. This offense is insane. They're going to score points all year. They're one of the more fun teams to watch in the league. I think James Cook's only going to add to the entertainment. They actually have a run game, might be pretty fun to watch if he works out. I'm still a little cautious on him because just because you're Dalvin Cook's brother doesn't mean that you're great, but.
And they don't run the ball that much in Buffalo. That's my thing. They haven't since Josh Allen's got there. They just throw the shit out of the ball. Like that's what I think
he's going to specialize in.
Singletary had
in the passing game.
Singletary had a very solid back half of the year going into the playoffs as well.
He did.
He did.
I think he's gonna get touches early. I think Cook is a progression type running back that's gonna and make his mark known in the passing game. But I think early on, Singletary will get touches. You know what I mean? He earned that from his second half last year.
Absolutely.
But since everybody else is going to smash the over, let's hear this win total, Deli.
Yeah, we're all going to smash this, I'm sure. I think it's pretty low. I'd go bet this in Vegas any day. It's at 11.5 right now. I think that's an easy
over.
12-5 seems so realistic.
Yeah, I'm over too.
Number 1 seed. Can't wait to see them in the Super Bowl rocking those blue jerseys.
I hate that. I hope they take the 1 seed just to piss you off.
They ain't gonna take the division. How are they gonna get the 1 seed?
That wouldn't piss me off, to be honest with you. I'd love to see the Chargers be successful. Yeah, I love the Chargers. They're the Chargers. So, granted, the Bills are the Bills. At least they made it to 4 Super Bowls.
Like we talked about the AFC West.
The Chargers are going to Charger. That's what you say. The Chargers are going to Charger.
Yeah, the Chargers are going to Charger every time. Just like the Falcons are going to Falcons. The Browns are going to Brown. Like, there's just certain teams that until they can get off the stump, that's just what they are. And to be fair, the Bills are one of those teams right now. So they lost 4 straight Super Bowls. That's a stump that you got to get off.
Speaking of teams that do that, you should transition right into the Jets.
Let me just kick off.
Jets.
So listen, this is gonna be completely you guys thing. I'll be the first one to say it. I want fucking nothing to do with the Jets. Maybe
there's only one guy.
I fucking hate the Jets. Still convinced that they don't have an answer. I don't know if Zach Wilson's that guy. I just don't know. It's the Jets, man. I don't want them on my team. I have a tendency, or very early on in my fantasy career, to not have players on bad teams. The Jets are a bad team. So to me, you guys are going to have to convince me to draft anybody other than Breece Hall on his team.
So here's what I'll say to start off my Jets talk. I misspoke earlier and said Tua was the third best quarterback in this division. He's definitely the second best quarterback in this division because I forgot Zach Wilson was in this division. And Zach Wilson is the worst quarterback in this division. Tua's better than Mac Jones, in my personal opinion. So, but to get into the Jets, I'm kind of with Delhi. There's only one player on this roster that I like, and that his name is Elijah Moore. It's not Brees Hall. Like Brees Hall's fine. I think he's going to be a productive running back in this league at some point. It's not going to be this year because I don't like the Jets as an offense. Again, other than Elijah Moore, I love Elijah Moore. I think he's a super explosive player. He had great production last year. I haven't had a chance to pull up his stats just yet. That's my bad. But that's just kind of because the Jets are the Jets. And you're kind of just going to have to take a leap of faith if you draft one of these guys. And I love Elijah Moore, the talent. But would I be shocked if he ended up being nothing more than a solid flex option this year? Not at all. I do not like Zach Wilson, and I'm not a Brees Hall guy. So I like Brees Hall again as the talent. I don't like Brees Hall this year. I think the Jets eventually are going to be good. When? I don't know, but they kind of did what the Giants did with the Saquon thing. They got the running back before they got the team ready because they think the team is ready, and the team's not ready. So I'm taking a leap of faith with Elijah Moore, but I'm kind of with Delhi on this one. Just fade all Jets.
Yeah, I agree. I think they are the AFC Chicago Bears. I think Wilson and Fields are very similar as far as bottom tier quarterbacks.
I don't agree with that.
My comp for Brees Hall was David Montgomery. He was my comp. I think Garrett Wilson's kind of similar to Darnell Mooney. The Bears don't have anybody similar to Elijah Moore though. But I'm with you. I'm not touching this offense. I have no shares of any player on this offense. Don't want them. Don't want Brees Hall's value. It's going in the second round of startups. Like, come on. Like, that's ridiculous.
We got Chalmers over here fuming, guys. I just need y'all to know.
No, I love it. I love it when other teams go in on Brees Hall that early. That just means I'm going to be ahead of them in standings at the end of the year. If you're putting that much value into a Jets player, I don't care if that's like the narrative. Like it's facts. Like straight up, like the Jets are gonna Jets. Like Zach Wilson is not the answer. He didn't show anything last year. Very turnover prone, just careless with the ball. He's trying to force it to who out there, like.
Because Elijah Moore was hurt too. Like that's another thing.
I'm drawing a complete blank on the guy, Mims, Denzel Mims out there, Braxton Berrios. Like, come on, my guy.
Berrios got cut, didn't he?
No, he's still there.
Or no, one of them guys got cut. One of the big guys, Mims or that Becton, one of the big guys they drafted who just could never play football. He was just huge. My bad for not remembering.
No, I don't blame you for not remembering. None of us can. I
don't
see Steven's face
space
over there.
Jets in
He's
my
just
brain.
like, I need Brees Hall to be great so I can look good. But like, I'm sorry, bud. You're getting a running back 2. You're not getting a running back 1, and I can't wait to touch on it at the end of the season. I'm gonna be smiling, and you're gonna be like, yeah, you're right. Next year he's gonna be good, and we'll just come back to this next off season as well.
My turn. All right, let's do this. So,
ISO.
So you always buy into players before they become stars. You want to. And granted, Brees Hall's value that I paid for was very high, but that's just believe in the player. Most tackles in the FBS last year. Most tackles in the FBS for a 4-year span. Dude is a monster when it comes to that. He's great after contact. His workout metrics just scream superstar. His receiving profile is an elite receiving profile. You have David Montgomery comp. I have Matt Forte. I have a Matt Forte comp. He's that good.
They don't even catch the ball.
Has
he doesn't
ever
catch
shown
the
that
ball.
kind of pass catching prowess?
Yeah,
And the
he
broken
does have
tackles is completely irrelevant. He's in the worst defensive conference in the FBS. They don't tackle in that conference.
You're breaking tackle. He's a solid player. Now, granted, most receiving backs in college, you can't stand out like Matt Forte in the NFL. You don't get that kind of receiving work, but what you can see from his elite catch radius, things like that, as a running back outside the backfield, he can run routes. He shows that. You can. I mean, if you want to watch his tape, watch his tape.
Forte caught the ball at Tulane.
He did. He did catch the ball. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like
That's the reason
times,
he got drafted high.
Most times
He caught the
most
ball
times,
well.
but Brees Hall catches the ball well too. That's what I'm saying. But you're talking about these elite receiving work. Most guys in college, those numbers, like you're not going to see 90 catches from a running back in college. It just doesn't happen. But the ability to show the hands, he does. He does do that very well. He is the best running back in this class. You guys hate on the Jets, but I think the Jets are one of those teams that had an elite draft, and they're going to turn their team around quick. The biggest question comes to me is Mekhi Becton. Is he a left tackle in the league? I don't know. He's extremely overweight, and he needs to get some things figured out. But you did add Laken Tomlinson, the development of Elijah Vera Tucker. I like Elijah Moore a lot as a wide receiver. And I think you drafted a better Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson. Obviously, defense is their defense. They're rough. But it comes down to Zach Wilson. That's what it comes down to. I like Zach
Chalmers?
What's up?
About Brees Hall. Do you think this offense is going to be ahead enough for Brees Hall to be productive enough with the football? Do you think they're going to have enough leads for him to just milk the clock and get over 20 carries a game?
I think Brees Hall has a profile.
Or 20 touches.
I think Brees Hall has a profile to be a 3-down back. Is Michael Carter going to get faded? Probably not. Nyheim Hines never got faded with JT. Nyheim Hines still plays a role in that offense. Realistically, with the Jets being down in games, I can't say he's going to guarantee 20 touches a game. My number for him his rookie year is probably 16.
That's not RB1 numbers, bro. That's not.
Touches,
that's barely
but
RB2
touches.
That was
production.
Javante got last year, splitting with
Melvin. Yeah, and Javante finished as a high RB2. Javante has upside ceiling to the moon though, and I think Brees Hall has that same upside. I love the player. He's just one of those guys you buy. He's my James Cook. That's who he is. And
way different values. Way different.
That's a different value though. Yeah.
You're right, and that's fine. And
you told me you would take him straight up over Joe Mixon,
and I did. I did that.
You did, and I'm happy.
And that's fine. I know you guys. But the thing is, like, you guys talk about the Detroit Lions, and I mean all these things they're doing, but the Jets are doing the same thing.
They're not building from the offensive line though. They're not building from the trenches. The Jets are trying to build with skill position players, and they got a quarterback that they believed in that nobody else did. So they tried to throw a bunch of wide receivers at him and a running back that are two running backs. They drafted Carter in the second or third round last year too.
Fourth round.
I still think that's a pretty solid investment into a running back, because I don't think you should draft running backs high personally. But
I mean, you had Elijah Vera Tucker drafted first round. Development of a guard there. You free agency, you bring in Laken Tomlinson. Then you drafted Mekhi Becton top 7. Obviously, he hasn't panned out yet to be what everybody thought he could be. But, I mean, it's just a weight issue for him. That's what it came down to, was his weight. I don't think their O-line is, it's spotty, but it's not as bad as, everybody makes it out to be.
It's bad, though. I'm not saying it's the worst in the league, but it's not good.
I don't think it's any worse than what Denver has.
Offensive line wise?
Yeah. Only notable.
Fair, but the quarterback is drastically different.
You're right.
Like,
we're just talking about strictly O-line.
Yeah, but we're not. We're talking about Zach Wilson being productive enough to have a fantasy.
I think this all comes down to Zach Wilson.
Players.
I think this all comes down to Zach Wilson. That's what it ultimately comes down to. But to say that, like, the offense, I think they have made exciting splashes and exciting moves. The Jets are going to jet, but I like what they've done. Their front office has changed. I mean, I like the direction they've gone from the last 2 draft classes.
They've definitely tried to improve, and they have improved on paper. But
Zach Wilson, like, that's the end all be all.
What's over under 1,400 yards for Brees Hall total?
Scrimmage yards? Over under 1,400? It's my guy. I'm going over. It's my guy. I'm going over. I have to. I believe in this guy so much. I have to.
I'll touch on Hall, what I'm in on him. Adrian brought up a good point. I didn't actually know that they're in the worst tackling conference in college. So maybe that explains it. But in Iowa State, excuse me. He was phenomenal in the red zone. He's in the red zone. He has such a great presence there. I mean, that's where you get your fantasy points. I like him and just off that aspect alone. And I think his hands are fine. Steven actually does prove a good point. These patch catching running backs never in the NFL never really did it in college. The college doesn't really support a system like that. So we'll see if he has hands. I'm not sure 100%, but as far as like red zone goes, give me the touchdowns potential with Brees Hall all day. Can the Jets get him those touchdowns? Probably not yet, but somewhere down the line, he could be a great asset.
That's my thing.
For me, I
how
think
often are they getting to the red zone?
Yeah.
Right. And I think Brees Hall's ceiling is more Nick Chubb than Matt Forte with the broken tackles and just creating after contact. Like I can see that being more Brees Hall's lane in the NFL than I can see the pass catching back. But I do not like this Jets offense. I don't like this Jets team. I can't see them having any type of lead to have a productive running back that I can be like, yeah, go ahead, take Brees Hall, I'll take Michael Carter and feel comfortable putting one of those guys in your starting lineup every week. That's if we're doing a fantasy football podcast or a fantasy football show, I don't feel comfortable telling people to do that because I do not like what the Jets have done. And if the whole thing on offense is what your quarterback can do for you, none of us believe in the quarterback. So I say fade this offense again, unless you want to take a leap of faith with a guy like Elijah Moore.
I do want to touch on one more thing before we get to the over-unders with the points and all that. I know Steve said you buy.
Of course.
Lost you, Deli.
I think he mutes himself.
No, but yeah, I just again.
Hold on.
There he is.
I don't know when I got cut off, but to Steven's point, he said that like you got to buy your players ahead of time at a good value. If Brees Hall's already gone in the second round of dynasty startups, how much further higher does he go than that? I mean, you're looking at like high end first round, like that's not that. Well, that's like maybe like a 10 pick difference.
Yeah, I bought him in the third round when I drafted him.
Yeah, 3-2 though. So I mean
3-3, but
I like Brees Hall as a talent. I'm not taking him at the price he's at, and I don't like that he went to the Jets.
Hit me with the over under on points so I can just go ahead and say under.
18.2.
Oh, okay. Maybe over
Under.
then.
Yeah, I'm going over.
I'm going under.
Take the under.
I can see them scoring 2 touchdowns a game and losing a lot. Like, I don't think that's unrealistic. Like 14, I can see them losing a lot of games, like 31-10, 31-14. Like that's.
I just see them settling a lot for field goals.
Right, like 28-10. Like I can see a lot of those scores for the Jets this year. I have a hard time seeing them scoring 20 points, which is what you would really have to do to get over 18.
Top 10 pick incoming again.
Yep.
I was just getting into that.
Good draft class to have it though.
Their over under for wins is 5.5.
I'll take the under. I think
they're
right
at
get
5.
a top 10 pick.
Yeah, I'll go over. I'll give him 6. I'll go over.
I think they're right at 5 wins. They somehow find 4 or 5.
You're gonna push, AJ? You can't push.
It's 5.5. I'm not taking 6. Taking the under.
I'll take 6.
I think you forget we play in 17-game season, so 6-11 is still really bad.
It is very bad. I just think the Jets are very bad. I think the Jets and the Bears are probably going to have the 2 worst records in the league. I think that's the top 2 picks next year. So,
you think the Jets are worse than Houston?
Giants.
Yeah. The Giants are bad too. I'm not going to argue with you on that at all. I could see them being in the mix for the top pick, but I just dislike the Jets and I dislike the Bears more than I like either of the teams that you guys have mentioned. I like what the Texans have done. I'm a Davis Mills truther, so.
Don, shout out Marshall.
Yeah, you and Marshall need to have your own episode on fucking Davis Mills. Holy hell!
Hey, we can get Cody in here
Davis
too. Cody
Mills.
likes Davis Mills.
I like Davis Mills.
Yeah.
I like him more than Zach Wilson.
I like it. That's what I was about to say. I like him more than I like Zach Wilson. So.
And I like him more than Tua.
Ooh, that's where you miss me.
All right,
but
Deli.
it's not that far.
You're up, man. You're a Mac Jones guy. You drafted Mac Jones. Go ahead, bud. Start it off.
First of all, I drafted him and then traded him. Just to my credit, I just want to throw that out. I did take him over Tua, but that's because I fucking hate Tua. I think Mac Jones is a pure passer and he has no rushing upside. Kind of like has a ceiling of like a Kirk Cousins, who I don't know about you guys, but I like Kirk Cousins. And maybe as a QB2, but
Oh, nope, there it went again.
You did it.
No, but I am not a Mac Jones guy. And I just want to say that as a huge Patriots hater, I do love that we let the Giants fan go first when we started talking about the Patriots. I think that's very disrespectful, and I'm here for it. But Mac Jones, I'm not really buying, like Deli was saying. He's just a pocket passer. You're not going to get a lot of rushing production out of him. You're not going to get a lot of playmaking out of him. If the pocket collapses or if his first read's not there, I think he's not a guy who's just out there making plays. And even if he was, I don't like these Patriots pass catchers. So even if Mac Jones was a guy who had a little bit more playmaking in him, a la like Matt Stafford, Matt Ryan in Matt Ryan's prime, I'm not talking right now. But like even if Mac Jones was one of those guys, he does not have the skill position players to get the ball to him like that or get the ball to them like that.
I heard a comparison, I don't know, about a week ago on a podcast. I compared him to Eli Manning.
love Eli.
And when they said it, I said, man, I see a lot of Eli in him now. And I was never an Eli guy. I'm not a Matt guy. Eli was not a good fantasy quarterback to have, except for a couple of years. He had good years, but it wasn't a guy that you were going out and getting.
Kirk Cousins with 2 Super Bowl rings.
Different. Anyway, just not a Mac Jones guy. I've never went out and even tried to get Mac Jones. He's never been on my radar. I always look over him. He's a jag to me.
Just a guy.
He perfect bench quarterback. I mean, if you have that type of luxury, but most people don't have him as a bench quarterback. He's typically a quarterback too. He's not going to be my quarterback too. They have no weapons there. Devontae Parker is going to get targets, but I don't want him. Don't want Jacoby Myers. Don't want anybody in that backfield. They drafted 2 running backs this year. Ramondre Stevenson is 24. Damian Harris is gone after this year. Like I don't want anything to do with that team really. I'd rather have players on the Jets really than I would the
Patriots defense.
Hey, they won me a championship.
I'm saying Patriots defense is a good defense to take in fantasy, no matter.
They lost J.C. Jackson. That's a big hit.
That's fair, but they lost Stephon Gilmore last year, and they were still productive. So they've proven that they can lose a cornerback one and still have a productive defense. I know this is a fantasy podcast, but since none of us like their offense, I think the Patriots defense is a good defense to have if you're one of those people who likes to have a solid defense on your roster.
Defense matters.
Yeah, I agree with AJ. I'm not a fan of any of these pass catchers at all. I
like Jacoby Myers.
I like Jacoby a little bit. He has a solid floor PPR guy. So if you are in a deep league like we play in, you are starting Jacoby Myers. There's no other way to spin it.
He's a good wide receiver 3 flex guy.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like in that 14,
he's not going to score touchdowns.
In that 14-team league, a guy like Jacoby Myers is being started. He has a solid PPR floor. He demands targets. He had 81 catches last year. I mean, that's not terrible.
2 touchdowns. First 2 career touchdowns.
It was like week 13.
The highest paid pass catchers, to me, never even really made an impact other than the red zone and Hunter Henry, and Jonnu Smith was non-existent. So
Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah, I could care less about Devontae Parker. The running game, like you said, they drafted 2 running backs later. Damian Harris most likely gone. If I were going to roster a running back, it would be Ramondre Stevenson. He's a cheaper running back. He showed he was okay last year. But when I watch Mac Jones play, I don't see Eli. I see more of a game manager type QB. I don't see any extreme upside with him as a quarterback. I don't think he's ever going to give you he's going to be a consistent, top 10 to top 14 QB. And
All
those
right. Well,
guys
since none of us like these offense, well, let's play a game of would you rather. Would you rather have Mac Jones or Ryan Tannehill?
Ryan Tannehill.
Mac Jones for youth.
Mac Jones in Dynasty.
Mac Jones or Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan.
Mac Jones.
Still with Mac Jones.
We're still talking dynasty. Mac Jones or Tom Brady?
Tom Brady. Shout out Tom. The GOAT.
I'll take 1 year of Brady over 4 of Mac Jones.
Okay.
Tom
Okay.
Brady won you a championship. Give me Tom Brady.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Mac
Brady's
Jones. Mac
gonna be
Jones or
shit.
Kirk Cousins?
Kirk.
Cousins.
You weren't on
Okay.
the NFC North pod. You haven't seen the love.
He got a lot of love. I like Kirk.
No. Well, then you guys are happy. Should be happy I wasn't there because I'd have rained on that parade.
But the thing is, like, I'll take
Talk
Derek
about
Carr
a jag.
too. I'll take Derek Carr too. Like, I like Derek Carr more than Mac Jones.
Of course, Derek Carr's got Devontae Adams. I wasn't going to put him in there.
Of course, you take Garrett Carr.
Yeah, that's not.
Kirk Cousins has been more consistent than Derek Carr. But we're going.
I just don't like Kirk Cousins.
QB11 over the last 5 years combined.
Yeah, he's solid.
Sure.
But that's what I said. Like,
Who cares if he can't win primetime games? That doesn't matter in fantasy.
Okay, Mac Jones or Tua, since we're talking AFC East.
Tua.
Give me the right-hander.
Mac Jones, baby.
Tua.
Easy.
Yep.
Mac
Tua.
Jones or Trey Lance?
Trey Lance.
Fairly.
Give me
That's close
Trey.
for me, honestly.
Me too.
But I'm gonna take Trey Lance.
I'm going Trey Lance because he's better, I think, than Mac Jones.
I am not
as
a Trey
quarterback
Lance guy.
prospect. But again, I'm not either because the 49ers aren't a Trey Lance guy either.
I'm a big Trey Lance truther, so give me Trey.
Those are the only quarterbacks I could think of for would you rather. So I guess we could probably.
I'll
The
take
only
Jalen.
quarterback I won out of last year's class is Trevor Lawrence.
I'll take Jalen over Mac Jones too.
Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I would hope so. He's going to get like 10 rushing touchdowns.
But you gave Jalen a lot of shit.
Probably a top 10 QB. What? Shut up.
You gave Jalen a lot of shit.
Just because I gave him a lot of shit doesn't mean I don't understand that he's
I
going to
just thought you
finish
didn't
as a
like Jalen. That's why I
QB1.
just brought it up. My fault, man.
I don't want him, but he's a QB1.
Jalen Hurts would probably have better rushing stats than Brees Hall.
It's not. I don't even think that's a hot take.
Oh shit.
I can see Jalen Hurts having 1,210.
Or even 808.
Oh shit!
I already
You're going
took
like
your
that
over
for
on your
Brees Hall.
14. I already took your over on your 1,400 scrimmage yards. So
I can't get behind that, Steve. I got to go under that number. That's too big for the Jets.
1,400 scrimmage yards for one player on the New
Nice.
York Jets.
Yep, I told you.
You're taking the under on the 18 or points, or did you
No,
say
I
you're
went
taking
over.
the over?
I went over.
He has to.
Okay,
I
then
went
set a ceiling at it. Set a ceiling. I know we're reverting back to the Jets, but whatever. So set a ceiling for the Jets point cap if you think Brees Hall is going to have 1,400 scrimmage yards this season.
Yardage are yards. Yards aren't points.
Their production, like, come
In
on,
pers-
don't be silly.
In perspective, David
So you're
Montgomery
saying-
had 1,100 yards last year.
But to be fair to Montgomery, he did miss games as well.
You think Brees Hall is going to play every game?
No, you
Let me
can't
t-
ever say that. I'm not. I can't. You can't say that. I mean, like I
Oh,
said,
you think Brees
Alvin
Hall's gonna start the
Kamara
season?
didn't have 1,300 yards last year.
didn't Kamara miss games as well?
Yeah.
Are you saying Brees Hall's going to be the starting running back from week 1 till the end of the
Yes.
season? Like, obviously injuries beside, but you think
Yes.
he's going to just
Yes,
hit the
he is
ground
that
running?
much. He is that much better than Michael Carter. Absolutely.
Okay.
And the
So
Jets
what was your
will-
question? Revert back to how many points I think the Jets will score in general, like per game.
Yeah, if you're going over 18 and you think they're
Uh,
going to have a 1,400 scrimmage yard player, that's a good offense.
I'm gonna realistically, I think 21 is obtainable.
Okay. Fair
Three
enough.
points per game, more over 17 games. What is that? I don't know what that comes out to off the top of my head.
No, I don't either, but that backs up your Brees Hall love. If Brees Hall is what you say is, then I can see them
Yeah,
getting
man.
21
You gotta
points a
believe.
game.
You
But I
gotta
don't.
believe in your guy, man. You know what I mean? Got to.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So
Go back to the Patriots though, because we really didn't touch on them at all. You guys don't really interested in anybody on that offense?
I'm really not.
Taquan
Even the
Thornton
tight
might
ends.
be a flyer.
I like
I don't
Ramondre
even-
Stevenson.
Yeah, I'm the furthest out on Thornton. I think he's gonna beat out John Ross, but that's just me.
Yeah, I don't want anything to do with Thornton. I don't want anything to do with Johnu, Derek, or Hunter Henry. Like, he
Hunter
can't stay healthy.
Kind of in on Hunter Henry. That's the one guy I was going to touch on, just as more like a red zone target.
Yeah, I was going to say Hunter Henry as a streaming option for tight end. I don't think he's a guy that you necessarily got to draft for as your tight end one, but I think he can put up tight end one numbers. But like we said earlier, tight end one numbers aren't necessarily great if it's outside of like the top 5 guys. So Hunter Henry, sure, if you want to take a flyer on him, and I'm a Jacoby Myers guy, but I already own him. I'm not necessarily saying I would pay for him, but if you can get him late in a draft, I think he's a fine value to have in like a 12 or 14 man league. Other than that, I'm out on these guys. If you need a QB2 and Mac Jones is there, I think that's fine, but I wouldn't be happy about it.
Yeah, I like Ramondre. I think, like you said, Damian Harris is gone next year. Take away Damian Harris, and I think Ramondre can still give you running back 2 numbers across a 17-game sample. With his contract, how it's set up, Patriots don't ever pay any running backs. So you'll get running back 2 numbers for 2 years, and that'll be it. But those 2 years, I think he'll be a solid, like, running back 4, 3, 4 in that area. And I think those guys can win you weeks, especially bye-week fillers. I like Ramondre, so I have him on a lot of teams, actually. So
What's their over-under?
points per game, actually, it's a lot higher than what I thought it was.
Mac Jones is good.
And I'm actually going to hit the under, but 26.6. We're going to go 26.5 points per game. I'm going under.
That's too high. I'm still going under.
Yeah, I'm going under.
I didn't realize it was that high, to be honest with you.
I can see 24. Like if it was at like 24 and a half or 23 and a half.
Yeah, they were the number 7
Yeah, they
offense
did.
in the league last year.
A lot of rushing production.
Yeah, that's what I said. Because Mac Jones threw for 3,822 scores.
They had a lot of turnovers too. Their defense was big.
Yeah, they were.
And Mac Jones fell apart late too. After that Bills game, he wasn't very good.
Yeah, I don't know what his fumble numbers were, but he did have 13 picks.
22
Those are
he was
that's
22
Jameis
and 13.
numbers.
Yeah, 22-13.
Jameis is 30, not 13.
Yeah, Jameis is good for 30 picks.
And they're sitting at I don't know how you guys are gonna feel about this. I'll take the over just because the Patriots are so known for winning, but their over under is at 8.5.
I think the over on that. I still like that defense a lot, but I just don't think that offense is going to be very productive.
I'll take the under.
Me too. I'm taking the under. I'm betting against Bill.
I think Bills just run away with that division. 3 teams just
Actually, yeah, let me amend that. I'm going to go under because I like the AFC as a whole, and they got to play a couple of teams in the AFC. So I think they're not the best team in that division. 8 is, I mean, I guess I wouldn't be shocked if they went over 8, but I'm going to take the under because I think the AFC is super competitive this year. Again, like the defense, just don't like that offense at all.
absolutely.
Yep. So, and that about wraps it up. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
hey. Oh, hold on. Actually, this isn't even anything, man. Just give me the Bills, dude.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, Bills.
Give me the Bills, dude.
Bills. You could just.
I got to win in the Super Bowl. I'm taking them to win the division.
I'm taking the Bills to win the division, the conference, and the Super Bowl. So
Yeah, we've been doing
I
that.
think the
We're
Bills fans deserve a Super Bowl. Give me the fucking Bills in the Super Bowl.
I want them to win it unless they play the Bucks.
I've been on record saying if the Bills ever win a Super Bowl, I will be at the celebration to see how fucking crazy it gets. I might stand by that.
Are you jumping
Oh,
through a
wow.
table?
I will.
I'm right there with you, buddy. We're
I'm
going.
too old to be jumping through tables, but I'll go
Yeah,
with you.
bro. Y'all.
I'm gonna get a soft table.
I've
Y'all
seen
gonna be-
40-year-old men go through tables. I can survive.
Nah, you're
I'm
gonna be
washed,
sore as
bro.
a
I'm
bitch.
washed.
And that cold, you gotta come from the ladder too. You're gonna be sore
I was
as a
gonna say, it's
bitch.
gonna be February in Buffalo.
God
Get the
damn,
hell outta
Jeff
here.
Hardy?
I'm washed.
I'm layering up, bro. Put some hoodies on. I'll be good.
I'm washed, bro. I'm not in on that. I'll be there, but I ain't jumping through no damn table.
I love the heat in this podcast, guys. I love it. I love a good debate. This was a good division.
It's been fun.
It was definitely more debatable than I thought it would be, and I appreciate y'all for that.
Yeah, man. You know, you guys are trying to hate on my Brees Hall stand, so fuck y'all. We ain't
I'm not
doing that.
trying to. I am hating.
That's fair. Yeah. Straight up hating. not
Y'all hate
trying.
on my Gabe Davis, my James Cook. Fuck y'all.
I hated it. You guys hated Mac Jones, so we're all even here. I think
Sure.
Frankie got pushback from Waddle too out of me. So
Yeah. I was going to say Deli didn't like Waddle too much. He said he was going to be a wide receiver too. So
I just said one of them was going to be a wide receiver too. I don't know which one it's going to be, but one of them is going to fall down.
yeah, fair.
Deli, next podcast, we get to talk about your New York Giants.
Yay, so thrilled to talk about this division. That's going to be a blast.
Hey, man.
Who chose this one? What the fuck? What?
Frankie took the AFC East. So, I mean, you gotta follow it back with the NFC East.
All right. Fuck it.
You know what that means? They say the best division for last.
Oh yeah, I'm so thrilled to talk
The
about
AFC South?
No, it's gonna go
I'm
NFC, AFC,
kidding.
NFC South.
I'm kidding.
I'm so thrilled.
I
to
don't want to
about
talk about the Falcons. So
Yeah, I'm so thrilled to talk about the NFC South. Oh my god, I can't wait. But
I can.
Well, that's it, boys. Deli, you got anything to say before we end this thing?
Yeah, this is a segment I want to move to the front, but I don't get no fucking say in the beginning anymore. But I get it. I've blown a couple opportunities, but just want to say that like everybody who's listening, if you're still listening at this point, we all take this dead ass serious. We're day in, day out on Dynasty, on redrafts. We're not just spewing shit out of our mouths. All this is backed up by research, and we're not just saying these things to steer you one way or the other. We want to help you guys win your leagues, and that's what we're here to do. And thanks for tuning in.
Peace out, guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
See you guys.
So.